Hello and welcome to another video. If you've been reading my newsletter, you'll know that I wanted to start with a bit of experimenting this month, trying out some new ideas and looking at the latest software, AI models and hardware that it could be interesting to play with to see what's new, what could be done and how we can combine these together for some really interesting outcomes. Well, first of all, I'm picking on augmented reality glasses. I haven't tested these in a very long time. The last was the Google Glass, the first iteration, which probably dates that a little bit if you remember. Those were really interesting devices, but it was a tiny screen just up at the corner of your eye, and you couldn't do a huge amount with that. But I knew they'd come along quite a long way since then, and checked them out. And thankfully, they have now started displaying in front of your eye, a real augmented display, I suppose, which I thought the Google Glass really would have benefited from being in the first place. So I saw what was available, and I picked up the Ray Neo, the Air Pro 4. They're pretty good on budget, and I don't think they look too bad either. Not the most stylish, but pretty good for the price. You can see there's a reasonable gap here, but there's a lot going on with the lenses. It's projecting the screen onto the main area of your eye, so you can see it right in front of you as you walk down the street. The way that the shade works, you can easily see any images that are projecting, but you can also see around it, and if there's not much on the display, then you can see right through it as well. One unique thing about these glasses is that they're actually not smart like some of the others. There's no operating system running, and there's no massive big battery pack, so it stays cool and they're very light. And we do that by having a cable out of the leg on one side that runs to a device that actually powers them. And in that way, they work as an external display. Now, that's a different approach, and I was really relieved actually, because it means that we can run the software on any device and just address it as though it was a monitor, which means that actually a Fyne app has a much easier job using this than it would do if we were having to compile it and load it onto the glasses. Additionally, these glasses adapt well to your conditions by making available a brightness control over here and a volume control on the other side, which means that you can adapt it as needed to the differing light conditions and background noise, I suppose. If you find yourself in a place where you just want to watch what's on the screen and you don't care what's about you but it's very light, as I found when I was on an airplane the other day, there is an eye shade here which you can clip on, and that means that the brightness is completely cut out from the area where you're watching and you could just get on enjoying your movie. But onto the experiment. I thought it would be really cool if, whilst I was walking down the street, I could have a heads-up display of important things just hovering over my vision there. And of course, I wanted to build that using Fyne, and that is really easy actually. The way that these are set up as an external monitor and some recent additions in the APIs of Fyne mean that we can actually pull this together really quickly. Let me show you how. I have a simple Fyne app here, just called Glasses. It's creating a window called Glasses HUD, that's heads up display. And there's two main things in this at the moment. I created it initially to show just the time ticking away in front of you. Useful, but not groundbreaking. And then I thought, well, a news feed would be pretty good as well. So we also load an RSS feed from BBC News. You can see a basic clock set up here. It is just white text, and the whole thing sits on a black background rectangle. The reason for this bland choice of colour is that with the augmented reality glasses, the black is fully transparent and the white is as opaque as the light is going to be. So anything that's painted black, you're going to see right the way through to the world around you, and the white is going to be quite vivid displayed on the screen. The text is set up with a fit layout that actually fills the space available, and then the two are positioned with this thing called a route layout. I could show you, this is actually quite straightforward. It's just a basic layout that cuts the width in half and the height in half, so the clock can appear in the top right portion and the headlines can tick along the bottom half. You can see here there's a go routine for running the clock. That keeps it updated each second. And we have two go routines here for running the headlines and running the scrolling. So the headline is what is being fetched off the RSS feed. So running it in a go routine makes sure we're always getting the latest news. And the scroller here, actually it's a marquee for anybody that remembers that on the web, is text that scrolls across the screen, and that go routine just keeps moving it over. And the thing that makes this really easy is just this line of code here. If we are on the desktop extension, then we can manipulate windows beyond the standard APIs. This particular one is an API to request the secondary screen, full screen. And that means that whatever device this is running on, the application is going to be full screen on an external display, such as these glasses. So when I plug it in and run the app, it automatically starts displaying as a heads-up display. Now you haven't seen very much, I appreciate, but let's just run the application and I can show you. And it's gone full screen on the current display because my glasses aren't plugged in, but it probably makes a better demo. You can see the time is ticking away, and you can see that RSS feed has been loaded and the headlines are scrolling across the screen. Again, just with white text from the Canvas package being moved by that layout that I showed you earlier. And this is going to fill the glasses, so when I walk down the street, I always know the latest thing that's happening. It's an early prototype. It works very well, but it's not particularly exciting. Hopefully I have a brainstorm before my next video, but if you can think of anything that would be really cool to add to this, let me know. I feel like some graphs or animated bar charts or something that tells you what's going on in the world around you would be pretty great. And of course, this is just a Fyne window, so if you wanted to work on it locally, you wouldn't have to be full screen all the time. You could just create that as normal, or of course load it into Aptrix and work on a more complicated layout yourself. And then we could have some of the smarts making it do the right thing for the glasses or for the remote data configuration when the application loads. That's everything I have for you today. I hope that you enjoyed looking at these glasses as much as I've enjoyed having a play with them as well. If you've got any thoughts about things that could be added, or you'd like to know more about the code, just drop me a note. I'm happy to chat to people about the work that I'm showing on these videos. And do check out my other websites. Andy.xyz is my blog, where shortly I'll be announcing my speaking schedule for the rest of the year. You can check out my video archive on YouTube, of course, but please do pop along to Patreon and consider sponsoring some of the work, especially now it includes buying some gadgets to show you what's possible. And as I mentioned, Aptrix is a great place to start building out application layouts and making things that are non-trivial. So consider checking it out for your next application as well.